Welcome Taste Designs 107, I'm the Astronaut Cutback and you're the kings and queens. Today what I have for you guys is a Photoshop tutorial showing you how to make a 2D Twitter banner. This is going to be really cool. The template will be in the description below for you guys to download to save you some time instead of making this, but I do encourage you to watch the full video so you can learn some cool techniques in Photoshop. I'll be covering a lot of different things in Photoshop with making this banner, so I really do hope that you enjoy the video, and yeah, let's get straight into it. Okay, so the first step for the tutorial is to open up Photoshop. Now, if you have a look here, what I have done is I've grabbed the original image that I found on Twitter by the designer, and I've put it onto a document. So the size for Twitter headers is 3000 pixels by 1000 pixels, but with this document I made it 3000 pixels by 2000 pixels, so it's like kind of a split. So I get the original one and I can look at it and use it as a reference instead of using dual screens, which is actually like more useful to just have it this way. So I'm going to go to File, New, and I'm going to do everything like I've done here. So hopefully you guys will be able to enjoy this tutorial, and yeah, if you did, hit that like button because all the support really does help me. One thing that I do want to note is, as you can see, it's not exactly the same. Now, the reason for this is I couldn't find the same space picture, and I couldn't find the same mountain picture, but I still managed to show the exact same effect. And yeah, if you do a little bit of sussing around on Google, you'll be able to find a mountain picture that will suit you well, and also a space picture. So let's go to File, New without further ado, and I'm going to make the width 3000 and the height is going to be 2000. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to show you how to make this preview. So when you're a designer and you're working with a preview, this will be useful. If you want to skip this part of the tutorial, you won't miss anything important. You'll just go straight into how to make this effect. So the first thing that I like to do is go to Control-Shift-N, and that'll make a new layer. And on this layer, I'm going to make a shape. So I'm going to grab up my shape tool by pressing U on my keyboard, and I'm going to make the fill of this shape black with no stroke, and I'm going to click once. Now the width that I'm going to make this shape is 3000 by 1000, and what this does, whoa, I think I did something wrong. Just drag out here, and we're just going to close this. Press Ctrl R on your keyboard to bring up the rulers and bring one down to the middle, then press Ctrl T on this one, and we are going to do it something like this. Okay, sweet. Now just to double check that this is exactly the same size. Yes, it is. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new layer above this one, and I'm going to Control J the original rectangle and move this down to the other half of the screen, and I'm going to press U to grab up the shape tool, and I'm just going to change the fill to white in this case, and I'm going to merge this one to the bottom. I'm going to leave this white rectangle on top but merge the black one here. So I have that and then the white rectangle, and you'll see why I've done that. Okay, so I'm just going to also name this thing top layer, and I'm also going to lock this one because I don't want that to move. Okay, so I'm also going to bring in my preview, which is this one, and there, I've got my preview, and now I can start working with this preview. So what you want to do first of all for the actual tutorial is go down in the description below, and you can find a link saying tutorial assets download or tutorial stock download, and you're going to download that link and you're going to open it in Photoshop. So once you've downloaded that link, you'll see a folder with all these pictures, and you'll get Moon version 2. So I've given you 2 versions of the moon that I think will work great for this tutorial. I'll also give you the mountain picture that you've seen in the like the tutorial preview, and a Saturn planet, some space images like this one, and some scan lines and Astronaut PNG. This is all you need to do this tutorial. You don't need to go to Google and find all these. You can just use these. So you're going to first of all open up the space picture, and we're going to drag this onto our document, and we're going to press Ctrl T, and it doesn't matter if this one's too blurred out, because of, again, it's like it's a background, so it won't be really like evident, really, you could say. I'm also going to merge this one, okay, down, whoa, unlock this one, merge my preview. Why won't you merge those together? Okay, perfect, so I just have less layers, I guess. And with the space picture, I'm going to rename it space backing. I'm going to also right click and convert this to a smart object. So when I save this as a template for you guys to download, all you have to do is double click here and you have the space image, and you can bring in any other space image you like. For an example, if I just show you, I really want to make this tutorial in depth because I love teaching you guys advanced Photoshop techniques, because I think it can really benefit you. Space wallpaper, that is the word that you need to type up, and you can just find one. Let's say say something different, like this one. And once we find that image, you right click, do save it as, and save it into the tutorial stock file. Open that image up, and you can drag this one onto here and resize it with pressing Ctrl T to that size. Bam. And now if you close this and press yes, now it's going to update that image to that, and look how nice that is. And you can also resize it, and bam, you've changed it automatically. So this is as a smart object, just double click on thumbnail and you can change it to whatever space image. Now with this image, what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Ctrl U to bring up the hue saturation, and I'm just going to simply bring all the saturation all the way down to -100. This will make it a black and white image. There are other ways to change the saturation, but I'm going to be doing this way. And you can mess around with the lightness, but I'm going to do something with -20. You can also leave in a little bit of a tint. There's no problem with that, but I'm just going to make it pure black for this one. And I'm also going to close all these. Now I'm going to press Ctrl S for this one, and I'm just going to quickly save this one so you guys will be able to use it. Tutorial PSD. Bam, bam, bam. And the next step is to go to File, Open, and open up our mountain image. And with this mountain image, we're going to cut this mountain out. So originally I was going to cut it out for you guys and just leave it there, and I'm going to like import it into the Photoshop and use it. But I want to show you some techniques on how you can separate images from an actual image. So let's say if you just want this part, I'll show you how to just take out that and not take the whole picture. So what you do, I like to do first, everybody has their own techniques. A lot of people go around with pen tool. That's the most accurate, but I have a lot easier way to do it. So grab your wand tool, and with this particular image, I found that a tolerance of 50 works the best. Click once, and obviously it doesn't select around the mountain properly. So then we go back to our quick selection tool, make sure that we're on add mode, and I'm also going to change the size of this brush to, let's say, 100. And then you just scribble around, bam, and look, it's all around the mountain. Now we go to the negative brush tool and do a little bit of touch up. So we go and hit the line, and it should go off there. And we have got our mountain. Now it's really good because of you can continue to add in and cut off faces. So let's just say I want just this face, like that, and then like that. Then we've got that face all selected, and if you press Ctrl Shift I, that inverts the selection. Then press Ctrl X like you would cut anything, and you've just got the mountain. Now if you press Ctrl V, and if I hide the background, you've just got a PNG image of the mountain. Now let me take a drink, guys. Now we've just got an PNG of the image, and we can start using this one. So I'm going to also save this PNG of the image in the stocks, and so you guys can use it and save some time with it. I'm also going to name it version 2, so you guys know that it's the PNG. And we're going to bring this PNG into our tutorial PSD. Don't need that one, I'll just leave it open. And with this tutorial, with this with this mountain, I'm going to press Ctrl T, and I'm going to resize a little bit. So I'm also going to squish it. This will make it like very tall, make it look very tall instead of like landscapey, something like this. I found it really hard to find a good mounted picture. So, and if you do end up finding one, let everybody know in the comments below. I'm sure that everyone would appreciate that comment saying, hey, go down to this link, I found a great mountain image. That'll be really great, trying to help out the community and everything's like that. And it will also help me, because of people will not complain because I don't have the original mountain image. Okay, so now we've got the mountain image into our document. Press Ctrl Shift Enter to finalize that transformation. We're going to press Ctrl U, and with this hue saturation, I'm going to just do the same thing like I did with the nebula picture and bring the saturation down to -100, and the lightness is going to be 0. Now, as you can see in the preview image, this is a lot more black in the areas. So what the designer has done is he's gone and adjusted the levels on this stock. So if you press Ctrl L, you can bring up the levels and make sure that the layer of the mountain is selected, and drag the slider in to your right, and see the blacks become more pronounced and the whites become more pronounced also. And if you really want to make the whites even more pronounced, you can do like that, but that just blackens everything a bit too much. So we're gonna do something like this, and that is looking great and shabby. So I'm also gonna move this to the side just a touch, and I think that's going to work really well for us. So the next part of this, the next step for this tutorial is to rename the layer mountain, and then we are also going to bring in the moon picture. Now you can do any order by like what you like, but I like to bring in the moon. So what I like to do all the time with my banners is get the background done and then do my subject and the text. So if you press Ctrl O, and it's not a banner, it's a header, but same principles apply for both. So I'm gonna just bring in, let's just say, this PNG moon. This PNG is better because you don't need to mess around with the levels as much, but I'm gonna bring in this one. So theoretically I'm doing the harder one and show you how you can make the harder one look even better. So with this one, I'm gonna press Ctrl T and resize it by holding Shift to make sure that it stays in aspect ratio. And I'm just going to line it up with this one just to get it something generally to the right size of the thing. Bam, bam, bam. And we've got something like this. Now with the backing, with the space backing, I'm actually going to change the blending options. Let's mess around with some of the blending options. Color dodge, linear dodge. That's not looking too bad. Maybe that's a bit better position. And then with the moon, I'm going to double click on the layer name and just type in moon so we know what layer we're working with. And I'm going to bring up the rectangular marquee tool. Now if you take notice with the preview, it has a little slight tear in this texture. Now this isn't probably very evident to the non-designer, but for us designers at Ace Designs 107, we take notice of this little effect and we'll transform it into our actual header. So I'm going to press Ctrl M to grab up the rectangular marquee tool, and I'm going to make a selection like halfway through the moon, something like this. Doesn't matter if you get a part of the mountain, as long as you have your moon layer selected and press Ctrl X, that's going to cut that area out of the moon. Press Ctrl V, and then you have the bottom layer back into your header, thankfully, and we're going to move this back into position and bam, move it to the right with your arrows or the left, doesn't really matter. I think the designer did it to the left, so we'll do it to the left, and then we've got something looking like this. Now you didn't do it too pronounced, but we are going to, and move it up a little bit just so you can take notice of that. and then bam, we've got the moon cut. And we're going to press Ctrl E to merge those two layers together. So now we just have the moon as itself. And we're going to press Ctrl L and we're going to mess around with the levels. As again, we're going to make the grays in this picture more black like the preview. So we are going to move this slider across and also bring up the whites a little bit. So we're going to move this slider on the very end up a bit and then bring this one. That is looking pretty good. So next, I'm going to also go down to the blending options and do a drop shadow. Bring down the distance, bring down the spread, bring up the size. And also bring down the opacity. Then, you don't have to do that. I'll probably take it off, but I might leave it on in the very end. And now what we're going to do is add in Saturn or Uranus. No, I'm joking. Okay, so I just had to do that joke, guys. It's a space tutorial. Okay, so let's go to File, Open, and bring in Uranus to the document. And I'm joking, it's Saturn. I know my planets. I'm not retarded. Okay, so we're going to rename this layer to Saturn. I hope that's right. I'm actually going to check this one out because you guys grill me. Yeah, I spelled it correct. Okay, so I'm going to press Ctrl T, hold Shift, and bring this one right down to something like this. And I'm also going to add a slight tilt like he did with the preview. And I'm going to just bring it up in the corner like this. Oh, my phone's going off. And bam, we've got something like that. Or just let me answer back to this guy. He's my associate. Yeah, sure, should be fine. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do with this is make it black and white as we did with all the images. So we're going to press Ctrl U for hue saturation and bring down the saturation and also bring up the lightness. Now, why are we doing this? Why are we making it white? Well, if you see with this Saturn image, he doesn't really have the rings where we do, so we're going to take that off by bringing up the lightness, and then we're going to mess around with the levels to make it more dark. So press Ctrl L to make it more, bring up the levels and bring the middle slider all the way down like this one. Press OK, and we're also going to go to the opacity and just bring that one down to like 74, so it doesn't look transparent, but it doesn't look like that, and also bring down the lightness. Okay, sweet. So now we are going to bring in the astronaut. So go to File, Open, and open up the astronaut image. And we're going to drag this onto the tutorial, onto the document. And we're going to press Ctrl T, resize this one a little bit up, and press Ctrl T again and turn it like this. Okay, and bring it down. Something like this. Okay, so we're going to press Ctrl U, and in the suit he has some little colors, so we're just going to take that off. You don't have to, but I will. Press OK, and then that's it basically, guys. Now you can see the scanning lines, so I'm going to show you one more thing, and then I'm going to make this red stuff. So as you can see with the scan lines, this is basically scan lines. These little lines are called scan lines, and they're really easy to find stocks for. All you have to do is go to Google, type in scan lines stock, and then bam, you've got some scan lines. So I'm going to go to File, Open, and bring up this really good scan line stock. And this saves me a lot of time digging through my graphics packs, because obviously I don't know every single image in my graphics packs. So I just have to go to Google. Google's your ultimate graphics pack, guys. So we're going to go to Ctrl U and just simply bring down the saturation, make it black and white. This will make it easy when we're messing around with the blending options, and bring up the, actually just leave the lightness as B, and we're going to drag these scan lines into our document, and we have something like this. Now press Ctrl minus to zoom back out, and we're going to press Ctrl T and just drag, like stretch this one out to the right. It doesn't really matter because it's a straight line, so it's not really distorting anything. And you've got your scan lines onto your document. Now if you bring these all the way down just above the space backing but below the mountain, and if you go to the blending options for this layer mode and go to overlay or screen, Wait, that's a mountain. Make sure the scan lines is selected and go to overlay. Bam, we've got some scan lines in, but these I think are a bit thicker than the preview. So we're going to bring the, we're just going to stretch these, like bring it more compact up, I guess. I don't know, I'm lost for words. Press Ctrl J, it's been a long day. And bring this one down, and we've got something like this. And we merge those two together, and also bring down the opacity. And I'll leave the opacity like that, but I just feel like this one is just a bit too dark for some reason. So I'll bring up the levels, and now we've got something looking like this. We need to add in some color after all this dark feelings we gave to it. So what I'm gonna do for this is actually something pretty neat, what I found. Okay, so if we press Ctrl N to make a new layer, and put this above the astronaut layer. We forgot to name the layer astronaut, so I'm gonna just name it astronaut. And with this layer, with our new layer, I'm also gonna name this red line 1. And press M for the rectangular marquee tool, and just simply find an area what you like here, I guess. Just drag it out as far as you would like. And press G to grab your bucket tool and bring in some red. The color code that I'm going to be using is FF0000. Press OK and fill this one in. Okay, great, Matt. You made like a line that is red. Good on ya. Okay, so right click and do create clipping mask. And this will create, you want to make sure that this is just above the mountain. So right click and do create clipping mask, and that'll clip it to the mountain. Now we're going to go to the blending options, do overlay, and now we've made it to the mountain. Great, but where's the other half? So if we press Ctrl J and just change this to normal, we have got the other half, but it's covering back up our overlay. So if we Control click the mountain thumbnail layer and press E to bring up the eraser tool, change the eraser tool size to like 100, hardness to 0, 100%. And what we're going to do is, as we erase, it's just going to erase the stuff within the selection of the mountain. And even if I go past, it's not erasing anything because we're just erasing within the selection. Now if we press Ctrl D on that selection, bam, we've got something really cool. Now press Ctrl T and move it once in, just to make sure everything is covered up, and we've got something really cool going on. Now if we press Ctrl U, we can adjust the color of this stuff. It really doesn't matter. I'm gonna leave it at 0, but what I found is if I bump down the saturation slightly, it just looks a bit better in my opinion. And there, we've done the first line. So you're going to do this a couple of times and you will have something really cool, but I'm actually not going to do that a couple of times. Actually, yeah, I can do it a couple of times, I guess. Just thinking, I'll show you how to do the astronaut. Okay, so if we make a new layer, press M to grab up the rectangular marquee tool, and we are going to bring this one here right over the legs, press G and fill that one in. But as you can see, this one isn't on a straight line, it's slightly horizontal. So we're going to turn this one, right click and do create clipping mask and go to overlay. Bam, we've got something like that. Thankfully, we don't have to do anything special because he didn't go right across the legs. He just did it on the legs. And also bring down the opacity a little bit. Press Ctrl U, his is a little bit more darker, so something like that. Press OK. And I'm going to do that again for the head. So this one, fill that one in. Right click, do create clipping mask, normal, overlay, I mean. And if you bring up your eraser tool, you can erase some of that. just to give it some cool shit. Okay, so that is going pretty well. We're going to make up some more lines for this mountain really quickly, and you can see me perform this effect a little bit more often. This one has to go to overlay. I'm going to press Ctrl U on this, mess around with the saturation a little bit, and bring down the opacity. Sweet. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we're going to make one more line, and this is going to be on the moon. Okay, there we go. Fill this one in. Right click, create clipping mask. This one is going to be overlay. Press Ctrl J to duplicate that one. Make this one normal. Control click the moon. Bring up your eraser tool and erase that one off. Okay, sweet. And then bam, we've got the moon. We've got the moon done. We've got the mountain done. You guys got to see me do some pretty cool stuff. And there's one more thing, two more things that we actually have to do. Add in some text. For the text, I'm going to be using Arial. Make it black, bold. Arial is standard on all computers. Don't even you tell me that your computer doesn't have Arial black. If it doesn't, go download it. There'll be a link in the description. And move this one right here and hit it your name, not your name. Bam. And as you can see here on the lighting of the moon, there's some little abstract stuff going on here. So what I did is I went to Google and grabbed up some abstract brush, Photoshop brush, and this is how I find it. You just click on the first link and it'll bring you up to something, or you can do a blood brush. Blood, like I know, like, oh, I don't want blood, but it's more abstract, I find. So and you simply just get it in, free download it, and then install it into Photoshop. If you don't know how to install brushes into Photoshop, go and find another tutorial on YouTube saying how to install brushes onto Photoshop. It really isn't easy. It is easy. Just grab your brush tool, basically, go to this little cog wheel, and then press load brushes, and then find the file that you downloaded, press load, and it will load in those brushes. So I've already got some brushes here. I'll leave a link in the description to this one. I think this one would work very well. Actually, this one would be better. This one would work good. Oh, you have to pay for that one. I'll leave a link into the description on what pack I think will suit best. And we're just gonna make these little stuff around this moon. So make a new layer above the moon. This is gonna automatically create a clipping mask because we have some clipping mask onto here. Line 2, copy, and name this splatter, and use the same color red as we did before, and change the size of this. I'll change the size of this brush to like 195, and just make a selection. You can do release clipping. Oh wait, just drag this above, release clipping mask, and if you control click the moon and start, press Control Shift I, and when you start painting, it's only going to paint from out the moon because of it's not selecting the moon. So something like this. Okay, and then we're going to go to the opacity and bring this one down to like 56. Press Control T, press Control Shift Enter, press Control D, then press Control T. Move this one across, and then bam, we've got some brushes there. And if you want to make some stuff more pronounced, I guess you can do it again. Bring up your brush, select a different brush, and paint again. Bring down the opacity, and that area is more highlighted than all the others. And if you merge these two together and bring the opacity down for all of them, you'll still have the pronouncement but not as strong. Okay, so that is the tutorial. I can see everything has been done as per the preview. Sorry that I couldn't find the exact same mountain and space image, but I could for the Saturn, the mountain, the moon, and the astronaut. So thank you so much for watching it. This has been a long one at 30 minutes, but I've actually gone into a lot of different technique. So yeah, thank you so much for watching the tutorial. I hope that you hit that like button and also comment below saying how much you enjoyed the video, because of that really supports me. In the end, with all the support comes the more videos. So thank you so much, and yeah, I keep on saying thank you, but thank you. Bye guys.